Hello, and welcome to Sports Update. We'll be looking at the latest sports news from around the region and beyond. I'm Braden Parks.
We'll also look at college football across the nation and check out the latest happenings in all pro sports. I'm Colin Hill, and this is Sports Update on EUTV.
So a relatively light week for EU sports. This weekend, just one men's game and one women's game basketball.
But they were massive victories. Both of them go on the road to a Central Methodist team, a powerhouse in the conference, and both of them knock off a nationally ranked team. Huge week for men's and women's basketball.
A really great performance all around.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll have guard Nate Davis on in a little bit, and he'll be able to talk a little bit more about it, but just two huge wins.
The Evangel Crusaders upset number 20 Central Methodist on the road this weekend, raising the record to 4-4. The win came as a result of Evangel's excellent 60% shooting percentage and dominance beyond the arc. The Crusaders took a 3-point advantage into halftime and then went on a 14-4 run at the beginning of the second half to build a lead that they would maintain through the remainder of the game. Additionally, the Crusaders went 10 for 14 from deep while holding the Eagles to just 6 for 22. Sophomore Cade Kaufman led Evangel in scoring as he recorded a game-high 23 points on 9 for 20 shooting. Final score, 77-68 Crusaders.
The Evangel Lady Crusaders faced their toughest test on the young season last Tuesday when they made the trek up to Fayette, Missouri to take on the number 12 team in the nation, the Central Methodist Lady Eagles. The squads entered action tied atop the conference standings, looking to hand each other their first conference loss. Evangel stormed out to a lead in the opening quarter as they opened up a game-high 8-point lead by the end of the first quarter. However, CMU woke up in the second and seized the lead by the time the intermission hit. The second half played out like a seesaw as the contest endured a total of 13 second-half ties along with 7 lead changes. With just 31 seconds left, Kylie Moore knocked in 2 free throws to give Evangel a 1-point lead they would never relinquish. Underclassmen Sadie Chisholm and Brianna Votes each hit 2 more free throws to finish with a 5-point upset victory. Votes continued to play well, notching a 20-point and 15-rebound double-double in the 89-84 win.
So a huge win against 2 ranked teams.
Yeah, and that's going to really bode well for them as they move up into more of the meat of their conference schedule. They both have some tough games coming up, but really, if that's not a confidence booster, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and it was just really nice to get that win, and then I think for the men also to get them back up to 500 at 4-4 is nice going into, like you said, this tough part of the season.
Yeah, they were a team that really no one expected much of coming into this season, and the fact that they're able to get a big win like that after coming very close to knocking off another nationally ranked Peru State team, they've shown that they are formidable opponents, unlike they were last year whenever it was pretty much, oh, there's Evangel, there's a win on our schedule.
Yeah, and not even a small margin of victory. A 9-point win is pretty hefty. So that's
yes.
Also a nice confidence booster. Well, up next, we will be talking with a member of the Crusader men's basketball team, Nate Davis, as their season is kicking into gear.
We'll be right back.
We all have a need to experience life with others, to not be just another face in the crowd, but to have a small community we can call family. We need to receive individual guidance from the wise and be sharpened by those we live with from day to day. We treasure the traditions of those who have gone before us and form lasting friendships with those who cross our path, knowing that the skills, the memories, and the relationships we formed will journey with us, no matter where we go. Evangel University.
Oh, thank you. Did you see anyone's broccoli? You moved this? Thanks for helping us. No problem. Is this strawberry? You're welcome.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
You can't keep true faith inside a church. You can't confine it to a few hours, days, or weeks. You can't share it with some people and hide it from others. You can't leave it on the side of the road to come back for it when you think you will need it later. True faith will shine through in everything you do, wherever you are, and everything you do will improve because of it, because everything we do grows out of it. Evangel University.
Coming off a win at nationally ranked Central Methodist for the men's basketball team, we're pleased to be joined by guard Nate Davis of the Crusader men's basketball team. Nate, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So you're a junior on this basketball squad, but this is your first year putting on the maroon and white for Evangel. What was it that drew you from your previous school, Dakota Wesleyan, to come to Springfield Evangel so far away? What drew you to this school?
I mean, I was ready to get out of where I was at. I was dealing with some injuries, and my father played here back in the 90s. He played for Coach Jenkins, and so it was just kind of a connection that I had, and I guess we reached out to Coach Jenkins, and it was a fit, so that's what we decided to do.
I'm certain all the fans would say it's been a fit. As you've been having a great year this year. You talk about Coach Jenkins. What's it been like? You mentioned your father playing for him. What has it been like being able to play for Coach Jenkins, someone who's so experienced, so successful in what he's done?
Yeah, he's honestly a little different than any coach I've ever played for. He's very calm, and you can just tell whenever he's speaking, it's someone that you need to listen to. You know, someone that's won so many games and coached a national championship team. So it's cool having that experience and the wisdom that he brings to practice and to games every day.
Talk about his preparation. How does he get you guys ready to go out and play against really stiff competition in the Heart of America?
Yeah, I think that comes down to just getting mentally prepared every day. For practice and for games, you got to prepare for games for practice just like it's a game, because you got to show up every single day in our conference. He always tells us, you know, if you don't show up, you're gonna get beat by 20, and you can't afford to do that, especially playing the teams that we play.
Talk about the game against Central Methodist. You played a good game, but really, Cade was able to steal the show. He put up some nice shots, and as a team, you guys really played well. Talk about how the game went, the ebbs and flows.
I thought we defended well, and that's where it starts for us, is defensively. We start getting stops, and then usually our offense, is able to come from the defense. We get a lot of offense from the defensive end, and we were able to stop. They run a lot of sets. We were able to defend their sets, get them into running stuff that they don't like to do. And offensively, I thought we moved the ball well, and we shot the ball well, so that always helps your offense look good when you're hitting shots.
Definitely. So you've been able to establish yourself as one of the key leaders on this team. How has it been different coming to a new program as an upperclassman rather than just coming into a new program as a freshman?
Yeah, I think coming in as an upperclassman, you understand a lot more of what it takes to win and to maybe be a leader, or just what college basketball is all about, versus when you come in as a freshman or a sophomore or whatever. You just have that experience on your side, and you understand all the little things, the details that go into what makes a college basketball team good, and how to prepare to go out and win, compete every night.
You guys have a ton of young talent on this team. Talk about the younger players and how exciting it's going to be as they continue to grow during this season, and then even going into next year. How good can this team be?
Yeah, I mean, like we all say, it's a process for us, and we're trying to get better and better, and we want to win this year. You know, that's our goal, and so I think we're in a good spot to we've put ourselves in a spot where we continue to win. We're going to have something to compete for, but we've definitely had a lot of the younger guys step up, a lot of guys that played a ton as freshmen last year, you know, moving into their sophomore year. They're taking big steps in the right direction that we needed them to take because they're big pieces of our team. They're very talented basketball players.
What's it been like to play with a guard like Clark? He's a lot taller than you are,
Yeah.
but you guys play so similarly, it seems, and you play so well together. How has that relationship just been able to click so instantaneously?
Yeah, I mean, I watched Clark a lot last year, and then getting to play with him in the off season, you know, he's really easy to play with. I have a good feel for what he's going to do, and he knows what I want to do. And so it's mixed really well for us, you know, off the court, on the court, we get along real well. So it makes it, you know, easier to be able to create shots for each other.
Lastly, pregame, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? What are you listening to? What are you doing pregame?
It depends on every game. Usually I'm trying to get some music in my ears and get some to get the blood flowing, but it honestly just depends every game on. It's different, but stay focused, I guess that's the main thing.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up, we will be reviewing some of the weekend defeats that happened in college football, as well as a rivalry between the Chiefs and the Raiders was renewed Sunday in Arrowhead. Stay tuned.
How do we learn? We learn from study, practice, and concentration. We learn from falling down and from getting back up. We learn from those who have gone before us. We learn from each other. And we learn from looking inside ourselves. And as we learn to learn, we grasp more than just knowledge. We learn the wisdom to apply it. Because learning is more than discovering how to do what we do. It's also discovering why we do it. Evangel University.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchool.com.
The world is waiting for you to make an impact in the career field God has called you to. He has equipped you with the creativity, skills, and talents you need to be successful. And at Evangel, you'll be empowered with a dynamic education and a spirit-led community that will help turn His design into your life's calling for global ministry in every vocation. Unleash your potential. Visit us today.
The biggest day of the year in the state of Alabama was Saturday for the 84th Iron Bowl as the Alabama Crimson Tide traveled north from Tuscaloosa to Auburn, where the 15th ranked Tigers awaited their arrival. A relatively low-scoring first quarter ended with Auburn leading 7-3, but in the second quarter, both teams exploded as the Alabama offense dropped 28, while Auburn countered with 20, including 3 controversial points as time expired in the first half. Defense once again reigned supreme in the second half as Auburn took a 3-point lead as Bama went on one final drive. With less than a minute to go, Alabama's special teams failed to answer the call as kicker Joseph Bulovas fell victim to the upright as the potential game-tying kick clanged off the post and ended their playoff hopes with a 48-45 defeat.
The number 18 Memphis Tigers defeated the number 19 Cincinnati Bearcats on Saturday to set up a rematch in the AAC Championship. Memphis struck early, returning the opening kickoff for a 94-yard touchdown, and then scored on both of the first two drives to create an early 17-3 lead in the first quarter. While the Bearcats were able to fight back in the second quarter, the Tigers still took a 3-point lead into halftime. But the climax of the game came late in the third quarter as the Bearcats chose to go for it on 4th and 1 instead of kicking the game-tying field goal. The Tigers made a massive stop on 4th down to seal the game. They would go on to score another touchdown, and Memphis would gain the victory at 34-24. So some very big games happening this weekend.
Yeah, this is really setting the tone for what the college football playoff is going to look like. These games, especially the Alabama-Auburn game, decisive for the college football playoff. And then the game that you were talking about, Memphis-Cincinnati, your one group of 6 team that makes it into a New Year's 6 bowl game, that was a big game in regards to that little area that Memphis is trying to get into. And I think Memphis might have just punched their ticket to the New Year's 6 bowl games.
Yeah, so different goals for different teams, but still some very high stakes. And this Alabama-Auburn game is something very special, as you see Alabama always in the national spotlight and just missing, basically ceiling. There's no way they can make the playoffs now.
Yeah, no way with 2 losses and no SEC championship.
Just by this much is very interesting to see, as you see kind of the tide of college football changing a little bit from these are the teams that have always been dominant, these are the teams that have always been elite, and these are the teams that haven't.
True.
We're seeing some more, just some different teams go back and forth with that. But there has been some change in the top 10 rankings for the NCAA. Let's look at the top 10. At number 1, we have LSU at 12-0.
Yeah, they stay there, and Ohio State actually drops down to number 2. They're number 1 in the college football playoff rankings, but number 2 in the AP.
We got Clemson at number 3 at 12-0 as well.
So those are your 3 unbeatens. With 1 loss, Georgia moves in or stays in the top 5 at number 4.
Mm-hmm. And then Utah and Oklahoma both sitting at 11-1.
Those are 2 teams that have really good chances with wins this next week to make the college football playoff. And then you've got Florida and Baylor sitting down there. Baylor's got an outside chance if they can knock off Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship to make the CFP.
Alabama is sitting now at 10-2 and number 9 in the AP top 10.
And then Wisconsin jumps 3 spots with their win over Minnesota back into the top 10 with the record of 10-2.
So that is the NCAA top 10. Let's take a look at professional football. Dubbed the game of the year, the Ravens secured a close victory over the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams are coming off large winning streaks and massive amounts of momentum. Each team utilized the rushing game as heavy rains fell in Baltimore. Raheem Mostert led the 49ers with 149 yards, and quarterback Lamar Jackson led the Ravens with 101 rushing yards. Each quarterback had 1 touchdown pass, but Jimmy Garoppolo of the 49ers completed more passes on fewer attempts, thus leading to a higher quarterback rating for the game. Both teams traded touchdowns and field goals throughout the game, but the Ravens were able to secure a 49-yard field goal as time expired to go on and win 20-17.
Raider Hater Week kicked off in Kansas City as reigning MVP Pat Mahomes led his troops into Arrowhead with the AFC West lead on the line. Oakland was looking to redeem themselves after getting embarrassed at home by the Jets. However, Andy Reid's Chiefs had something else in mind. It did not take long for Oakland to surrender points as the end of the first half. They had already surrendered a Mahomes passing touchdown, a Mahomes rushing touchdown, and the first career touchdown for defensive back Juan Thornhill on a pick 6. Oakland never climbed back into the contest as they lost 40-9 and suffered their second consecutive 31-point loss.
So another set of really important wins for each team, handing for the Ravens, handing the 49ers only their second loss of the season, and now both teams sit at 10-2.
Yeah, and with the Patriots losing last night, it now moves the Ravens into that number 1 seed for the AFC playoff picture. And as we go and look at the NFL playoff picture, those 1 seeds are going to be interesting coming down the stretch, with both the 49ers and the Ravens still hanging on to the number 1 spots, but right behind them, the Patriots in the AFC and the Saints in the NFC.
That's true. So if the season were to end today, here are the AFC leaders. Right now we have the Baltimore Ravens, we have the New England Patriots, the Houston Texans, and the Kansas City Chiefs. In the wild card position, we now have the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
For the NFC, it's the San Francisco 49ers leading the way with their 10-2 record, but New Orleans still has that 10-2 record sitting directly behind San Francisco. Green Bay and Dallas leading their respective divisions, while the wild card sees the Seattle Seahawks and Minnesota Vikings, who will be matching up in the near future in what could be a pivotal game for both of those two teams.
For sure, and now we're seeing some important divisional games that are really going to determine these wins. Like the Chiefs versus Raiders game, the Chiefs were only ahead 1 game of the Raiders, but delivering the Raiders this loss and also a divisional loss, that's very important.
The Raiders have hit some kind of bump in the road. When you lose by 31 to the Jets, you expect to come back and at least have a little extra fire in your step, and they really didn't. They just rolled over and played dead against the Chiefs, and boy, did that fail for them as they lost by 31 again. So the Raiders have got to figure out something if they're going to make a run. But a guy who looked good, Mizzou's former quarterback Drew Lock, playing in his first game for the Denver Broncos, he impressed and picked up a big win for Denver.
So lots of important things happening right now in both the NFL and the NCAA.
Well, as the semester comes to an end, there are fewer chances for you to catch a Crusader game. Let's take a look at what's coming up this week for Crusader sports and when you can catch them at home in action.
Women's basketball will kick off with William Penn on Saturday, December 7th at 12 p.m. in Oskaloosa, Iowa. And then they will go up against C of O on Thursday, December 12th at 5:30 p.m. here in the Ashcroft Center.
For the men's team, they will take on Baptist Bible College here at the Ashcroft Center on December 4th for a 7:30 tip, and then head to William Penn on Saturday, December 7th for a 2 o'clock game against the Pioneers.
So that is really all that's going on. That is all the time that we have today for Sports Update. Be sure to join us next semester as we bring you the latest in sports news. I'm Brandon Parks.
And to check out all of our previous shows, go to crusadermedia.com. I'm Colin Hill, and this has been Sports Update on EUTV.